All right, being 7 o'clock on March 24th, I'd like to open a planning board meeting. First up on the agenda, we have an annual extension request for the Peaceful Woods special permit for 55 and over senior living Peaceful Woods definitive subdivision off Center Depot Road. We received a letter March 14th. Dear Planning Board, on April 20th, 2005, Charlton Planning Board approved a special permit for 55 and over housing project at Center Depot Road in Charlton. At this time, we're requesting 1-year extension of that special permit. Could you please place this subject in the next scheduled planning board meeting agenda? Your cooperation in this matter is deeply appreciated. All right, that's I think we're all familiar with the project.
Yeah, they had requested extension till it actually expires April 20, 2021, and so they're requesting extension till April 20th, 2022.
All right. Do you have any questions or any discussion or a motion to approve this extension? Anyone?
I'm sorry, Ross. I missed that.
Do we have any questions, or does anyone want, we have a motion to approve the extension for 1 more year on this project?
Is that what it is? Just an extension? Now, did we do a review of the project? How many years has it been?
05 on.
So
Yeah, it was originally approved in 05, and I don't have any, recent record of it being, reviewed or anything. It's just been extended for a number of years.
okay.
What do you want to do, Don? Would you like to see a review done, just to ask for any update as far as stormwater or anything like that?
But I will say that this was done prior to the most recent stormwater regulations. The zoning bylaws haven't changed, but the only issue would be, whether it's in compliance with existing stormwater regulations.
Is there anything the board wants to?
So I know we had discussed this before, and I thought the criteria was like 10 years we'd put it in. So I think we need to review that.
All right.
So
Right,
would
we have.
you make that, grant the extension with the condition, or would you rather have it reviewed before you grant the extension?
I'll leave it open to the rest of the board if they want to comment.
I would think, seeing as it is approved from the last, we'd had very little leeway to change any of it. I think being approved with the condition of updating the stormwater permit or getting in line with the new regulations that have been passed would be sufficient.
Okay. So the approval would be till 4/20/2022 with the condition that it is reviewed to ensure it complies with current stormwater regulations. That sound correct?
I like it, yes.
Yep, I'll make that motion.
I'll second that. Jean Vincent.
All right. All right, all those in favor, Jean Vincent,
Aye.
Don Clay,
Aye.
John Smith,
Aye.
Phil Fontaine,
Aye.
Ross Massey abstain. All right, moving on to our next item. We have Tim Reardon Builders Incorporated, Hammond Woods Flexible Subdivision Annual Extension Request and Discussion Installation of Streetlights.
Yeah, Mr. Reardon, I spoke to him today. He gave me a call, and I think he's here by phone. I don't know if he can, I don't see his name, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. I don't know. Mr. Reardon, are you here? He did explain that he wasn't quite tech savvy with the whole Zoom thing, but I did give him the information on how to call by phone. He's in Florida at this time.
Okay,
He has received the information on the comments by the board in reference whether they willing to consider the solar lighting, which he is aware that at this time they are not. You know, that's an option that could be explored in the future, but as far as complying with this current subdivision, it would be under our current bylaws requiring electric street lighting. So he was aware of that.
all right, do you seem receptive to it, Randy, as far as, all right, that's what I'm gonna have to do, I'm gonna go forward and do that?
Well, I mean, I think if the board so wishes, is we could give him, you know, approve the extension. I think we want to keep this alive, and to approve it with the extension that he installs them within 6 months, or, you know, an appropriate period of time, or the board can possibly discuss, you know, using some bond funds to have the lighting installed. I did run it past Graves Engineer. I can't remember if I supplied it to the board at the last meeting, but there is enough money in the bond account that would pay for this, providing the one unknown is whether there is actual conduit under the street, you know, for that. Mr. Reardon said there is, and so we're kind of taking his word on that for now until it's actually, you know, determined by Mike Andres whether it's actually there. Mike Andres feels confident too, but, you know, he hasn't necessarily seen it. So that's the one unknown. But I mean, we do have what Mike and I thought was sufficient bond amount should we have to go move forward in that direction. But in the meantime, if we give Mr. Reardon a certain window of opportunity to, you know, take care of it on his own, that might be before we go to the next step. I don't know how the board feels about that.
I personally feel 6 months is quite a long time. I would like to see a shorter window. 6 months would put this, what are we, in March? That's the September. I'd like to see it a little bit shorter than that. I don't know how everybody else feels.
Yeah, that was just a suggestion. I think it, you know, got to give them a couple of months, but, you know, anytime after that, you know, that's completely up to the board.
Can we defer the approval to the next meeting? I'd like to hear from him just what his plan is before we approve it.
Right, but how many meetings has he not attended when he's aware of the meetings? He can just simply not come to the meetings or not attend the meetings, and, you know, we're in limbo for another month.
Well, I think in 6 months, we're probably going to be in the same position. That's.
Yeah, well, I mean, in to answer Dawn, I mean, we're actually talking a couple of weeks now because our next meeting is April 7th. And I can notify him that, you know, again, and that the board is giving him an opportunity to explain what he's going to do moving forward. And if he chooses not to, then the board will take it from there. You know, if he chooses not to attend the meeting.
I think we've given him ample time to, he knows he needed the lights.
Oh, actually, hold on a minute. Mr. Reardon just, I just admitted him into the meeting, so he'll be joining us momentarily. Just waiting for him to connect.
Perfect.
It seems when people connect by phone, it takes longer.
Yeah. I guess to continue the discussion, I was thinking more along the 60 to 90 day max as far as acting on that with the conduit and the lights. I mean, because they gotta locate the conduit. I mean, that takes time. And then we gotta order up the bases, get those in. So I
Right.
think wait to 6.
Now, given the time of year, that's, you know, it can be done anytime. You know, we're not waiting for the cold weather to pass, so.
Correct.
How many are you talking, Randy? How many streetlights are there to?
There's 3 within the subdivision, and then 1 needs to be mounted on the pole at the intersection of Hammond Hill Road.
You're talking 4 lights?
Total, yes.
Seriously?
Yeah. That's the only thing left to do with some, okay, Mr. Reardon is now connected, so. Mr. Reardon, we actually had just started on discussion of your extension request.
Yes,
Can
sir.
you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
What do you need to know?
So I guess, Tim, as a board, we're just looking to look at your game plan time-wise to get going on installing those light pole bases and then getting the wires in the conduit.
Sure. Light poles and bases have been ordered. So it's just about when they come in, should take us a day to dig them and then get them installed. And I talked to the electrician he's taking it from there to talk with Mass Electric how to tie everything together.
What do you think in the time frame? Like
I would say within 2 months, probably sooner.
60 days.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's
Yeah.
what
That's why I was trying to go with the solar ones, just because they would have been done already. But you guys didn't like that idea. So.
the problem is it's just not in our regulations for 1 and 2. It's our first time really did those poles.
Yeah.
So you get it.
Nope, that's fine.
All right. Does anyone else on the board have a question for Tim?
Nope.
Don, you got anything? John?
Nope, I think you answered the question. So I'm willing to make a motion that we approve the subdivision 1-year approval pending completion of the sub. This is really the last thing, right? Sorry.
Yes. There
Okay,
might
so
be a few more things that Mike Andre wants, but we'll discuss those and take care of them. Everything else is in the bounds, the trees, the sidewalks, paving, everything.
Okay, so we're really looking to close this up within the next 2 to 3 months.
I'm hoping.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we approve the subdivision plan with an extension to the 30th of June. Is that sufficient time?
Yes?
I second the motion.
All right. All those in favor, Gene Vincent,
Aye.
Don Clay,
Aye.
John Smith,
Aye.
Bill Fontaine,
Aye.
Ross Manzi, aye. Thank you very much, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye-bye. All right, next up on our agenda is Beagle Club site plan modification discussion at volleyball courts.
Yeah, I'll just give a quick rundown on this. They had come to the board they had just a preliminary type plan. They have requested to put in what they call, beach volleyball courts there, which is basically sand courts, where they used by 2 or 4 members at a time. I guess they will have, basically a league. They had requested not to require a subdivision a site plan by the board. You asked me to check with legal counsel, and he said it should be the opinion of the zoning officer. The zoning officer's opinion, to hold everybody to the same standards as far as if the bylaws say you need a site plan approval, you need a site plan approval. So it was determined they do need to come in for a site plan, but because of the type of project it is, where it's really not an extensive project and everything, that the request is that they could do a site plan, but on a very reduced level, given the part that they're not creating impervious area. They already have existing parking that they do not plan to pave. Chris McClure from McClure Engineering is here too. He actually had a more formal concept plan that he wanted to share with us tonight, so that he could just give the board a better understanding of what they're proposing to do there. Chris, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes. So through the chair, could Could I share my screen?
Go right ahead, Chris.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so Chris McClure with McClure Engineering, and I'm here on behalf of the Beagle Club. I assume everybody is familiar with the location. It's over on Bond Road, 100 Bond Road. It's right across from the town's rec field, the soccer field, and a Little League field, baseball field over here. Currently, there is a softball field in this location with a backstop. This area that you see here is all a fielded area with you see some tree growth that is infringed upon this area. There is a parking area that has been in use, and it's used as overflow currently during periods of big participant levels over on the fields across the street. So as you can see, there are 12 proposed sand volleyball courts. It's going to be some minor grading in order to get this area all leveled out outside of any wetlands, and really it is just sand. The excavation of the level, and then anywhere between 6 and 12 inches of sand would be laid out, and these fields would be just set up as such. And as Randy said, it is beach volleyball, so it's just typically 2 or a maximum of 4 people on these fields at the time. They will be putting a fence around it. There's that little access gate here. And we kind of laid out what the parking would be. They're not proposing any pavement, and I apologize, this shows as pavement, but there is actually no pavement on this site currently, and they're not proposing to put any pavement down. They would site some porta potties. There are bathrooms, public bathrooms in the Beagle Club, and we're not proposing any lighting, so it's all going to happen during the day. And on weekends. So during the weekday from 4 p.m. till dusk, in the weekends would be, when light, allows. And that's about it.
So the applicant is requesting if, rather than submit a full site plan as somebody would do if they were creating issues with stormwater and everything, that if a modified site plan such as this, that because they're not creating areas where they have to deal with any stormwater or anything like that, if they submit a site plan with this proposal on it, does the board feel this is adequate for submission for a site plan application? Or is there more information you would like to see on this plan?
So there's no wetlands involved?
No, the wetlands are, as you look at the right where there's no impact to wetlands at all.
Gotcha. Okay.
Through the chair, this is Bill. So no wetlands. I see a shed is moving, but other than that, no structures are being built. There's some fencing, it looks like, is added around the perimeter. That's probably the main piece of construction there.
And that's just to keep cats.
Right. Yes, it looks good. That's as formal as I would expect for this type of a project to go through.
Yeah, Bill, I'm in total agreement with what you just said. See no issue with it. Oh, John.
Yep, I don't see an issue with it either.
All right, John
I'm okay.
Smith. Oh, Jean.
I don't have an issue with it either.
All right.
Yeah, and then the second part of this is I believe David Foskett is with us. He is a member of the Beagle Club, and because they operate as a nonprofit, they have requested, I said that they would have to make the request about whether they could submit this application without requiring to pay the application fees. And I said that is completely up to the board on whether you would allow that, or you would require the application fee be paid. It's $750 for this type of application.
Are they a 501c3?
Maybe Mr. Foskett can answer that.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Dave.
All right, I'm Dave Foskett. I live at 15 Carroll Hill Road, Charlton. I'm the president of the Charlton Beagle Club. And yes, it is 501c. That's nonprofit. So we'd like to waive any expenses we can off. We're just trying to put this together so we can do a little something, make a little money. Well, you know what I mean?
Absolutely, Dave. Absolutely.
We're having a hard time even making ends meet right now. Of course, everybody is with the COVID. But anything we can do right now, we're just trying to get it done. We have somebody's helping us out with that, and you know, that's all I ask. Anything we can waive would be appreciated very much. That's really all I can say, you know.
Yeah, I would just like to add, typically with an application of this type, I mean, it really wouldn't require a Graves review either, because they aren't creating any new impervious area. They're not creating any new parking. Everything is existing. So as far as a peer review, unless the board so required, I don't think Mike Andres would really have anything to add to this application, because there's nothing that he would really have to address.
All right, I'd have no problem waiving the fee and then have no Graves review either.
I agree.
I like that.
Yep, I'm okay.
Okay, so they will submit a formal site plan application, so we go through the proper procedure, but so we just wanted to do this conceptually tonight to get the opinion of the board. So Chris and Mr. Foskett, are you all set?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you very much. I appreciate anything you did.
All right. Thanks,
Great.
Chris.
Good luck with the project.
Thank you.
All right.
So just going forward, so would we, for this type of, in the future, would this be considered could we do an informal review with us here and call it an informal review without having to change the wheels or anything on this process, and call it it seems like we've been struggling with this, just trying to with the smaller projects, to your point, Randy, earlier about, you know, how is that vehicle so people are able to get in and out without having, you know, on these smaller projects to actually have Graves take a look at it and bear the cost of that.
Well, I mean, we're in the middle of amending our bylaws. Now would be the time to think of coming up with another mechanism, so we have an application such as this, that they wouldn't have to, you know, we could give them guidance on when it would be necessary, you know, like put in a set of guidelines, like no one new impervious area or whatever we come up with that would, you know, under normal circumstances trigger an application, but in a case like this, really wouldn't do it. And then the fact if they're 501c3, you know, and the board chooses to handle it that way, which I commend the board for doing that, you know, that, you know, those are mechanisms we could put in our bylaws so that they would give people guidance of when they could use this type of process versus going for a full-blown site plan application.
I don't mean to digress, but what, you know, while we're thinking about it, what should we call it? You know, what should we call it, so the people would be like in our bylaws, there'd be this process where it's a night of the planning board meeting to come in and have that process followed. That is in our bylaws with our new rules. I mean, just to kick it out there, what we call it, the Beagle Club rule, or what?
Well, they initiated, so why not, you know?
just food for thought out there.
Yeah, but yeah, we'd have to come up with something that, you know, where we could point to and
Something
call
to
it
reference, yeah.
something. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we should definitely talk about this during the bylaw discussion, but yeah, definitely. I mean, if you look at it, being a nonprofit, being no impervious area really changed. It's just a matter of changing one dirt field to another dirt field.
Yeah,
It's case by case, but I don't see a problem with
No, no.
doing this kind of thing here, but
Well, it'd be nice to have that process so we can just refer back to it and
yeah, it'd be nice to have a process and some rules written around it. I agree.
Something to the fact that a 501c3 organization can bypass this with the board vote,
Sure.
at the board's discretion. Because there are some 501c3s who are not really nonprofits too. So I just don't want to say all 501c3s.
right. And there are times when you, like, if they're putting in, like, you might have a 501c3 that's putting in a parking lot that would directly affect stormwater, which would require a grades review. So I agree with you.
Exactly.
It's a case by case basis that they have this mechanism to come here, and then it's the board's discretion on whether they give it or not.
Right.
All good points. All good points. All right, moving on to our 707. We have Eleanor Lane Realty Trust, Ellie Pond Estates. Vote to remove covenant on lots 1, 2, 3, 4, 16, and 17 and Eleanor Lane.
Yes, this one's, I'll just kind of explain because you're probably trying to figure out exactly what happened. This subdivision actually was original subdivision, Ellie Pond Estates, that the subdivision had expired prior to it being completed. There had been a covenant release. There had been covenants put on the properties in one point, and then they had amended the plan and they actually were put on again. The board had approved the covenant release on the lots on one document, but come to find out through the new owners that it was still listed on another document, the registry of deeds. So their attorney actually came up with the way, which I think is a very good way to handle it, is because there are a few lots over there that need the covenants to stay on the lots. So you have one document, which is a covenant release of all the lots in the subdivision, so it cleans up the problem they have. And then the other document is actually a covenant for the 3 lots in question that the covenants need to remain on. So you basically have 2 requests, and it would be votes for 2 different approvals should the board do it. One is for the covenant release of all the lots that are listed, and then one would be putting covenants on 3 lots as they are listed. So that will clean up the issue they have with the registry of deeds.
So going forward, Randy, this will help the current owner with developing the remaining house lots within the subdivision?
Well, that house lots where there's still road in front of it, the road was never completed, which is part of the problem they have over there. But all the remaining lots that are on the paved portion of the road, they would be able to develop those lots. And then there's 3 lots that are on the unpaved portion that wasn't finished. Those lots couldn't be developed at this time until the base coat of the road is in.
Okay, gotcha.
And this is off of H Foot Road?
Yes. Down to Southbridge line.
Yeah, I apologize. I did not submit a plan on this one. I didn't, probably would have been helpful.
All right, so I guess by us voting on these, it will just correct whatever
Yeah,
is done
it's
prior.
the title issues that they have over there. So they have the lots, it cleans up so the lots could be developed. Because right now they have issues because of a covenant was released, but then come to find out there's a second covenant on the same lots.
All right. All right, so do we have a motion to remove the covenants on lots 1, 2, 3, 4, 16, and 17, and then add covenants to 1R, 2R, and 16R, all on Eleanor Lane?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All right, all those in favor, Gene Vincent,
Aye.
John Clay,
Aye.
John Smith,
Aye.
Fontaine,
Aye.
Ross Mancy, aye. Randy, do we need to come in and sign these? I saw this. that for the,
The answer is yes.
okay. All right, I guess at our earliest convenience, members can
Yeah.
come in the office.
Yes, and I just, while we're doing that too, because John Smith, still have one, would need your signature for the decommissioning bond here in the office when you have an opportunity to sign it.
I should be able to come in tomorrow afternoon, Randy. What, are you in tomorrow afternoon?
Yes.
All right.
All right, next up on our agenda is the accept Curtis Hill Road preliminary subdivision plan submittal.
Yes, they have submitted this, they had submitted an amended site plan showing the solar field. Graves engineer had done a review on it. They are currently working on items that need to be addressed for Graves Engineering. And we are anticipating moving forward at our April 7th meeting with this application, should they provide the amendments to Graves Engineering, which speaking to one of the representatives today, they do anticipate that they will have no problem doing that. So at this point, all we'd be doing is accepting the application, and then at our next meeting, we would actually hear the application.
Does that start the clock ticking for approval?
Yes, it does. It puts
what
us 25 days. So the other option is we could accept it and start it at the next meeting. We don't have to wait to start it. So if we accept it at the April 7th meeting and start the application at the 7th meeting, that would be the other, route that the board could go if they chose to. I believe one of the representatives of the applicant is on.
I'm here as well, Kenny Blair from Blair Builders.
Okay.
I'm the applicant. Yeah, I mean, we have no problem giving extensions of time. It doesn't matter when you log it in. You can log it in any day you want. If you want to do it on the 7th, fine. If you want to do it now, that's fine too.
All right, does the board have any opinion on which date we want to set for starting the clock?
Randy, is it easier just to keep it all together on the same date moving forward, so we're not?
Yeah, I mean,
wise.
because of our workload, Jane and I have spent a lot of time of when we can do things, and the 7th actually is a good date for us to start this application.
That's fine with us.
Okay. That sounds good to me.
All right, we have a motion to accept the subdivision plan submittal for Curtis Hill Estates.
I thought we were going to do it all on the 7th. Is that
Sorry.
the plan?
Sorry, I missed that. I apologize.
Yeah, let's put it all off until the 7th and we can do it all at once.
All right. We
We'll
need to,
make our presentation at that time as well.
Excuse me?
We'll be able to make our presentation that time as well.
Yes, you'll start the application that night. Yes.
Okay.
We're going to go right into the application. Yep.
Perfect. By the way, Randy, it's nice to meet you. I'm Clee Blair.
Hi, nice to meet you. I've heard about you, but
Whatever you heard, I didn't do it.
no, nothing bad.
It's all true.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, all true.
All right.
all right, thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you on the 7th.
Thanks.
Yep.
Good night.
All right, next up, we have the public hearing for Otis Land Management Site Plan Modification at 100 Sturbidge Road.
That we have not received. Mike Andre is working on it. As I think this was discussed with the board, he is have received approval, site plan approval for 2 separate buildings. He's now combining them into one larger building. I'm still awaiting a report from Mike Andrade on this. I have not received one. So it's purview of the board of where you want to go with this right now. Because I have no idea what comments Mike may or may not have at this point. I think Jason Du Bois was going to attend the meeting tonight. He's the engineer for the applicant. But
I'm
right
here,
now-
Randy. This is Jay.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, I guess he can present it, but we really, can't do much until we hear from Mike.
So is this a site plan or just a field modification? What,
It's going to be a site plan modification.
Okay.
Mike Andre we had that discussion, and Mike Andre determined because of the significant change that it should be a site plan modification versus a field modification.
gotcha. Okay. Do we want to hear from Jason tonight? I mean, if he's here already, do we want to at least get an idea of what we're looking at before we hear back? I think that's probably a good idea.
Okay. Yeah, so Jason Du Bois here, DC Engineering and Survey. As Randy kind of summarized, this is a project for Otis Land Management. It's the Charlton Oil bulk storage facility off of Route 20. This plan was before you, I don't know, maybe 2-3 years ago. It had 2 buildings on it, and Ralph Nichols, the owner, is decided to get rid of that and just do one large building. It is in the same general area as the 2 buildings. It does go back a little further into the non-impervious area that was previously approved, and I think that was kind of what triggered Mike Andre to say that we should go through a more of a formal site plan modification process. So the building, as shown now, is about 16,000 square feet. About 80% of it is garage bays, drive-through garage bays for his oil, tankers and oil trucks and propane trucks. And the front portion is going to be an office space with like a window for people to be able to come in and, pay the oil bills and things like that. So I don't know if you have the plan in front of you. Can you see the plan at all or no?
Don has shared it, I believe.
Okay,
So
I'm on a call in,
screen,
so I
yeah.
can't. Yeah, I can't see if anyone can see it, but yeah. So you can see the building in the back right-hand portion of the property, and there is parking along the front there. There's 2 handicap spaces with some landscaping on the side of that in the front of the building as well. The access drive, traffic flow throughout the oil bulk plant and the building pretty much is the same as what was approved. You can see that access road coming in off the right portion of the site into some parking spaces. And then, a little further up, you get into the building area with some additional spaces on the left. Grading really didn't change from what was approved, just with some additional grading, because like I said, we did go further off of the approved impervious area. But I guess at this point, we can just wait and see what Mike has to say. And if the board has any other, additional comments or questions up front, I can try and address those at the same time.
So this property does abut a residential R40?
The zone is IG on this property, and there is R40. I don't know if it's on the same property. I think it does go along the eastern side of the property. There is a zone line there. And there is a residential house, further back, way further back in the woods.
If I'm correct, that house is back towards the water that's back there, isn't it, Jason?
Yeah, it's really far back. It's actually the previous owner of the property.
And Jason,
Is the land cleared all the way to that line, or is there a buffer?
All the way to what, the zone line?
All the way to the zone line?
No, it's not cleared that far. It's pretty much cleared. Let's see. If you're looking at the plan, I mean, it's pretty much cleared up to you can see like a squiggly line, like a zigzaggy line. That's basically the tree line right now.
Okay.
So I guess it does go up to the zone line in the way up in the back.
In the way back.
Yeah. Yeah,
the result of this change, just so the board's aware, he went to one building, he was hoping to avoid having to put a sprinkler system in if he kept it with two smaller buildings, but the Massachusetts Building Commission determined that because of the use of the building, it has to be sprinkled. So he said, well, in that case, he might as well build one building versus two. So that's how this all started.
Is there any other questions from the board? John Smith, Jean, or Bill Fontaine?
I don't have any.
Do we have time? Do we have time for this on the April 7th?
Yes, we will.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I was hoping to get something from Mike Andre before today, but I did not receive anything. I think he's on the busy side as well.
All right, do we have a motion to continue to our April 7th meeting?
I'll make that motion to continue this until April 7th.
I second it.
All right, all those in favor, Jean Vincent,
Aye.
John Clay,
Aye.
John Smith,
Aye.
Bill Fontaine,
Aye.
Ross Mansky. Aye, sorry. All right, moving on to, we have a public hearing for GFI Partners proposed zoning map change Hill Road from agriculture to IG. It's map 46, block B, lot 2. Pursuant to MGL Chapter 48, Section 5, the town planning board will hold a remote public hearing on Wednesday, March 24th, 2021 at 7:20 p.m. via Zoom meeting ID 853-07939-499 on the request of GFI Partners, 133 Pearl Street, Boston, Mass. 2021110 to consider amending Charlton's zoning map for land located at Hill Road, herein identified on Charlton assessment map 46, block B, lot 2, by rezoning the parcel from its current zoning designation of agricultural to industrial general as detailed in the submitted zoning district revision map. The property contains approximately 86 acres. The property is also adjacent to where the property is known as 241 Sturbidge Road, herein identifies map 31, block B, lots 3, 3.1, 3.2, pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GL Chapter 38, Section 18, in the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Charlton Planning Board will be conducted by remote participation. Specific information and general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found at the Town of Charlton website at www.townofcharlton.net. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to listen and/or watch the meeting may do so in the following manner: video participation, https://zoom.us/85307939499, meeting ID 85307939499, phone access 1-646-558-8656. The complete text and map of the proposed zoning map amendment is available for inspection at the planning board office and the town clerk's office during regular business hours. The application is also posted on the town website and the planning board. Any person interested or wishing to be heard should appear at the time and place designated. All right.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. I'm Mark Bobrowski. I represent GFI Partners LLC and its nominee called Charlton Option Holder LLC. We're the sponsors of the zoning amendment that is in front of you this evening.
Mark, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. Nice to see you again.
Yep. I'm anxious to share news with you someday, but the court's moving very slowly.
Great.
So I'm looking for the picture of the proposed lots here. Whoever is managing this.
Is this, sorry, is this Hill Road?
Yes,
that's it.
this is the
All right,
So
so
this
you
is-
can see the IG parcel on Sturbidge Road is currently designated as such. That's about 194.7 acres. The back parcel, which is about, that's about 86 plus or minus acres, is currently agriculture, and we are proposing to town meeting to change that designation to IG to link it up with the front parcel. The parcels will then be the subject of an application to the planning board for site plan approval. within the next month or so, basically to establish or to permit a logistics facility. There's no current end user. It's being built by GFI in order to enter into the market looking for a tenant. That application is very close to being finished. We thank Randy for the development team, design review team that he's put together to help us put that application together going forward. The parcel in the back will likely be used for staging of construction and seasonal truck parking. Some of these distributors have a seasonal nature to them, as we can well imagine, since all of them are reliant upon them now. And that will be the end use for the property. We have the authorization of the owner, which is Adam and Sons LLC. I have a letter from its manager, whose name is Adam Jashimzik, and he has given us written authorization. I think that's in your file.
Yes, we do have that.
So pursuant to Chapter 48, Section 5, we're looking for the planning board to give a favorable recommendation to town meeting on this proposed zoning change. I'm happy to answer any questions. Also with me tonight is Haley Marsh, who's an official at GFI, and if I can't answer it, she's here to do so.
I think just for the board's information as well, as you can see, there's a road, Hill Road, that goes through there. We are actually at the town level trying to determine if that's actually still a public road. The last house lots are actually, if you're looking right in the center of the map, there's a hard bend in the road. That's where the last house is on that property. The road is basically a cart path.
Mm-hmm.
And we are trying to even determine whether it's a public road at this time. They have already, if they want to cross, they would have to cross the road, obviously, to get from one parcel to another. And they have already agreed that if any improvements are required by the town of Charlton, with the permission of the Board of Selectmen, they would make those improvements.
Well, they probably have derelict fee rights since they own on both sides of the road eventually.
Right, so
and
crossing,
they would be able to make those improvements, yeah.
Right, so I don't, they're already addressing that issue, just in case anybody that's notices there's a road cutting through the middle of that.
Yeah, I might, Brandy and I had a discussion about that one little piece that's a triangle on the far, as I look at it, the far left side of our parcel. And that's owned by a gentleman, I believe, from Sturbidge, who did not want to have his property included in the change to IG. It's a fairly big parcel. I'm told it's over 10 acres in size. And one of the concerns was spot zoning, but I think spot zoning is not applicable in this situation.
Is he also the one that owns the house on lot 87?
No, he lives, it's actually a farm on the Sturbidge side of the property off on Pisco Road. It's one of the back roads off on Pisco Road. It's a large farm. And on the Sturbidge side of the property, there's actually a large water body and wetlands right at the town line, where currently he does not even have access to this property, a viable access to this property from the Sturbidge side of the property, the Sturbidge side of the town line, because he has to go through, there's a water body there and there's a very large wetland area. So for him to even access his property would be difficult. And on the Charlton side, that road isn't even proved nearly back to this property. So it's a kind of a standalone property that you can't do much with. And we did reach out to him, and he just wants to maintain his farm. He had no interest in, having the property rezoned and everything. He just wanted to keep everything as it was. He didn't really have an issue with anything around him. He just didn't want anything done with his property.
So he wants that to remain agricultural?
Yes, I think it's just to maintain his land as it has been for many, many years. It's been a farm forever.
Are we referring to this corner right down here? Is that what it is?
Yes,
Okay,
you got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't see where you were pointing, Don.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the parcel itself, it actually shows a,
Oh, down there, okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
I thought it was this one we were talking about, but it's.
No, it's this.
That's what I thought too, okay.
Yeah, it's approximately 11 acres, and that,
Yeah.
you know, the property goes right into the Sturbidge side. And, I mean, it also has a large water body on it, a large wetlands area on it, so.
Yep.
Even though it's 11 acres, it's not 11 usable acres, so.
Understood.
Are there any other questions from the board or comments?
Do we have any of the property owners that abut this in the meeting? They've been notified?
They wouldn't receive notice under Chapter 48, Section 5. They'd receive notice of the public hearing that you're having this evening, but they're not, it's odd, but the statute says that the only people that get notice are out-of-town voters who give their name to the town clerk.
Honestly, the zoning changes that we have before us tonight are probably some of the worst kept secrets in town. So I can't say it's common knowledge, but I do know that the information is out there. And I have received no inquiries on this particular application at all.
So I know that the owners of these two properties here, I believe, are Sturbidge residents. I'm assuming it's not their home, or but there are two other residents that kind of right on this road here too that abut that, as well as these properties back here. Well, is this already IG and we're just doing this zone and this zone, or is it just this parcel?
The IG is the front parcel with the IG on it, so it's only actually the parcel on the.
It's only this parcel here?
Yeah,
It's the back parcel, the one that says 46B2.
Okay.
The rest is already zoned IG.
Completely? Okay. Okay.
Is the, right where the IG, that's where that beaver swamp is in there, Mark? Is that correct?
I haven't been in there, so that's the first time hearing of it.
I think it's the one you're referring to, John, yes.
Yeah, when you drive by, you see the beaver swamp there, so.
Yeah.
Does that help? Oh, sorry. Does that help at all? Can you see that?
Yeah, it's right in the middle there. That's,
yeah,
it's right there.
Yeah, that shape is on the other plan as well.
Yeah.
Well, that takes up quite a bit of that property right there.
Yep.
Yes, it does.
Are there any other comments or questions from the board?
And just with the Hill Road, if that's, how would they access? Would they just assume ownership of that road, or would that just be just two distinct parcels, Mark?
The intent would be to come across the parcel currently zoned IG onto parcel 46B2, not to use Hill Road.
Okay.
To the extent the town owns that as a public way and improvements need to be made, we would obviously cooperate with the town in making improvements along our stretch, but it's not at this point proposed for an access.
I mean, if it's a bumble trail to that, it doesn't really make sense to improve just your section and then leave the use as is. But
right, and then we don't want to. We'll keep the industrial traffic in an industrial district rather than transfer it across an A district.
Gene or Bill, do you have any comments or questions?
No. Good. Understood.
Okay.
No, I don't have any either.
All right. Randy, I can open this up to the public for public comment, correct?
Yes.
All right, is there anyone from the public who has a question or comment? If you do speak up, please state your name and your address, please, for the record. All right, hearing none and seeing none. The board, do we want to have any discussion about this as far as the board of I guess the question is, Randy, what's our time frame as far as town meeting when we have to have a decision made if the board as a whole feels that they want to give it
Well,
more?
I mean, the only action you're taking is whether you want to vote to support this application or not, and then that would be, brought up again at town meetings, ultimately determined by the voters, the residents.
I get, my question was, how much time do we have to vote to whether we give it support or not? Because isn't there a timeline when we have to have it done before town meeting, this and that?
Yes, the latest we could do this is at the April 7th meeting.
Gotcha. All right, that was all I was looking for. All right, as a board, we want to have discussion about this if we're would like to support it or not.
So we've seen these recently, just prior to the previous town meeting, and we are in the middle of a zoning diagnostics, and I'm just wondering if we're jumping the gun here and rezoning properties without a full view of everything. I mean, not that I'm opposed to this piece of property. It's just something we've discussed in the past, and I'm not sure how other people feel about that.
I'm with you because we're just running, it's the same gambit we have been running into. And not that I'm against it, but it's just we're doing a piecemeal through this whole process, and we're trying to get put a tent over this circus. So I'm with you, Don, with that to that point.
All right, Bill?
I understand that we're trying to review, the bylaws and make better sense of it and organize them better. But I mean, we really can't delay the owners and their wishes to move forward. I think we can just put it to the voters at the town meeting. It's really just up to us whether to recommend it or not at this point. But I wouldn't want to stall. I mean, the owners have a window of time that businesses are viable and not viable. We have to perform as they request it. And when the bylaws change, then consider the new bylaws in the future.
All right. Jean, do you have any comment?
No, not really, but I sort of agree. Something should be decided sooner than later, and if we're going to support it, that's fine. But the townspeople will have the final say so, correct, at town meeting?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay.
So irregardless, even if we don't, and not to say that we're not in support of the project, we don't have to support, we don't have to give our support, and it's going to go to the town meeting anyways. So it's just what we need to process the rest of the zoning changes and how to make a coherent plan for the future going forward with the town,
All right, good points up by everyone. I mean, my opinion is it's an IG zone, and we all know we have a impending submittal and public hearing coming up at one of our next meetings for a project going on the site that already is IG, and it's just expanding the IG zone to, it's pretty much an abutting properties. We're just picking it out of nowhere. The ultimate decision is in the town meeting voters' hands. So I'm always in favor of giving property owners the opportunity to rezone their property and let the town meeting voters make their decision.
So either way it goes to the town meeting, correct? It's either goes with a yes recommendation from the board, or it goes with a no recommendation from the board.
That is correct.
The statute has been rewritten in the last 30 years or so. It used to be you had to have a recommendation from the planning board. Now there's 21, if the town meeting is within 21 days of the close of this public hearing and there's no planning board recommendation, the moderator rules it out of order. But the most important thing is that we can't bring it back for 2 years without a favorable recommendation from the planning board. So we really would urge you to give us a favorable recommendation and then obviously let the voters decide.
So if by chance, I'm just looking for some legal information here. Mark, if the board does agree to support this proposal and it fails at the town meeting, does that still get the clock ticking again on the 2 years, or can you bring it back up, or can it be brought back up at the next town meeting?
If you've given us a favorable recommendation, we can bring it back within 2 years. If it's an unfavorable recommendation, we can't bring it back for 2 years.
Interesting. Okay.
All right, so we have a motion to give a recommendation to town meeting in favor of this zoning change of parcel 46, block B, lot 2.
I'll bring that motion. This is Bill Fontaine. Bring a motion to consider and support zoning change from agricultural to IG of lot 46B2.
I'll second that motion. Oops, sorry, Bill.
All those in favor, Gene Vincent,
Aye.
John Clay,
No, just for the reasons I spoke of earlier.
John Smith,
I'm a no also, only because we're going through that process, so.
all right, Bill Fontaine,
Aye.
and Ross Mancy, aye. Votes 3-2.
Thank you, members. We look forward to coming back with a project, and we'll see you at town meeting as well.
Thank you,
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next up at 7:30, we have a public hearing for Cooper proposed zoning map change at 194 Berry Corner Road from agricultural to IG. It's map 47, block A, lot 1.4. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 5, the Charlton Planning Board will hold a remote public hearing on Wednesday, March 24th, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. via Zoom meeting ID 853-0793-9499 on the request of Peter Cooper Jr., 194 Berry Corner Road, Charlton, Mass. 01507 to consider amending Charlton zoning map for land located at 194 Berry Corner Road, herein identified on Charlton Assessor Map 47, Block A, Lot 1-4, by rezoning all or a portion of the parcel from its current zoning designation A, agriculture to IG, industrial general, as detailed on the submitted zoning district map, revision map. The property contains approximately 44 acres. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GL Chapter 38, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Charlton Planning Board will be conducted by remote participation. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and a requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Charlton website at www.townofcharlton.net. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to listen and or watch the meeting may do so in the following manner. Video participation, https://zoom.us/85307939499. Meeting ID 85307939499. Phone access 1-646-558-8656. Excuse me. The complete text and map of the proposed zoning map amendment is available for inspection at the planning board office in the town clerk's office during regular business hours. The application is also posted on the town website and the planning board. Any person interested in looking to the yard should appear at the time and place designated. All right.
Ross,
Yes.
little point of order here, maybe. Did we close that public hearing on the other one we just heard?
Thank you very much, Dean. You did not.
Okay.
Always,
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
second.
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor, Gene Vincent,
Aye.
John Clay,
Aye.
John Smith,
Aye.
Bill Fontaine,
Aye.
Ross Mancy, aye. Thank you very much, Gene. I'm sorry that I oversight by me. All right,
Not a problem.
thank you. All right, thank you. We got the maps in front of us.
This parcel, it is actually the abutting parcel to the one you just reviewed, the last application. This property owner expressed interest in trying to, as a result, the possibility of the parcel next door to him being rezoned industrial general, that he could rezone his own parcel to industrial general from agriculture. As you can see, this is actually a large farm property. In the lower right-hand corner, it's cut off to remain in agriculture because that's where his actual home and improvements already are. The rest of it is actually vacant land. So this property on the north side where the A is actually abuts the parcel that was just presented at the last application.
So how would this parcel be accessed?
Well, based on what they have here, it would be access to Berry Corner Road.
From Berry Corner Road?
Right, Route 169 to Berry Corner Road, if I'm correct on that.
No, excuse me, can you hear me, Dan Crowley?
Yeah.
Okay, I've been working with the Cooper family on this. I didn't know if Peter was gonna be available.
Hi, I'm here.
Is Peter there? Okay.
Yep, I'm here, although I'll certainly let you speak if you'd rather.
Well, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, what separates this parcel from the parcels where the Cooper family lives is the river that goes through there. The other thing is right abutting this in the back is a pipeline parcel that's there's two pipelines go through, but that's landlocked. So they've got their piece. Their homes are on the other side of the river, but with the infrastructure that's going to come into play with the rest of the industrial zone, that would, it's sometime that would be better used for industrial land with the, with what's going on in front of it. Is that right, Peter?
Yeah.
That was always our reasoning.
Yes, and so if I can try and describe maybe the longer term picture that I've had in mind, my dad had in mind ages ago, and who knows if any of this is ever going to actually come to fruition, but that from Route 20 there would at some point be industrial access road continuing all the way south to Southbridge around their industrial park and landfill and airport around that area. Basically with the McKinstry Brook there, you can't really, I mean, you could build a bridge over the river, but it wouldn't really make any sense to try and develop any of the land further west than my house very much. And so I think it makes more sense with kind of the stream there and this being on the edge of town for it to be some kind of industrial land in this kind of continuing south further than that last project you just heard about. Does that make sense, Dan? Did I screw up? No.
No. Hey, you did a good job. You can come work with me.
So I don't know if that answered all your questions.
So it's something at some point you'd like to continue on the other parcel.
Right. I mean, my plan would not be to have, any industrial traffic off Berry Corner Road in general, but it would be something continuing from that further north parcel if they needed to expand further or there was some other business that wanted to come in kind of connected up that way. And thinking it made more sense to try to do the zoning at the same time as the other parcel rather than kind of doing it one little bit at a time, although apparently it's separate public hearings anyway, so maybe it's not actually making anything any easier, but I think it makes sense.
Is there, if that was an industrial property, is there anything that's preventing access from Berry Corner Road to that piece of property?
Just you'd have to build a bridge over the stream. There's a wonderful little quaint stone bridge who knows how many 100 years old that is.
Well, I think the important thing is Peter lives next door and he's going to control the access. I mean, he's not going to sell the land to have, to have truck traffic through his house and his brother's house.
So does any of this property, if I look at the map, moving kind of things around here, is this Berry Corner Road here or is this a driveway?
So I believe where Berry Corner Road is on your map is not the right place. That's the pipeline into what's currently labeled Berry Corner Road. That's a pipeline access. Where the lot line is, that kind of goes around.
This is where it
So
goes.
yeah, so that's kind of, we improved it when we put in our houses. And then kind of, you can see the lot line, that little gap in the lot lines. That is the current dirt road, which
Okay.
I believe west of the stream is private. I think it's probably similar to Hill Road that you were talking about. But east of the stream, we think it's a public road, although the highway department doesn't. I'm still kind of researching that.
Mhm.
And I believe he's right. If you look to the east, where it's marked Berry Corner Road, you can actually see the clearing of the pipeline. So I think.
Yeah, I can see that. And this goes right to the
here on the
property, so-
map. Yeah.
Right. I think ages ago somebody thought that they looked at an aerial picture and thought that must be where the road is because you could see it when
Yeah.
that's not actually where it is. It's their dirt road.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
I believe west of the stream it was discontinued after the flood of '55, but said I'm still kind of researching that. But if you kind of keep going where that curve in Berry Corner Road is at 190 Berry Corner Road, my brother's house, you kind of continue straight onto the dirt road to get to my house, and then you could continue through the, over the stream and all the way into the McKinstry Wildlife Preserve in Sturbidge.
So the only thing that really bothers me is just because this does have access to Berry Corner Road, that road could be used to access this industrial property. I don't think the road suits that purpose. Not a great road right around that corner. So that concerns me. I mean, if this did not have any frontage on Berry Corner Road, I'd probably be more comfortable with it, just so that could never be accessed.
Now, the rezoning we're proposing would just be west of the stream, which we believe is private property and not, the road proper. I don't know if there's something of rezoning, which parts you'd want to be rezoned that would help make that more amenable. Dan, maybe you're better at phrasing this than me.
Well,
'Cause
I think if you look at your lot's a triangular lot on the right-hand side there, okay? And that's where the stream goes by. So, I mean, to make it viable for industrial land, there'd have to be a major rebuilding of the road. And I mean, it's not marketable if you said, okay, here, we're gonna put a facility here and people are gonna come up, by the golf course on Schoolhouse Road or Berry Corner Road. I mean, that doesn't make sense. I mean, what makes sense was the idea was always to attach this to, to the abutting parcel. And in fact, there was one time there was talk about where the aggregate concrete plant used to be, putting a road to the airport there. And then Southbridge decided they wanted, they took their grant money and built the road, coming up the cliff there from 169. And, but Southbridge, the land in Southbridge is also industrial. And, their problem is someday if they ever developed up along the airport, it makes sense to, access Route 20 and the turnpike through all these things. So, I mean, this is just long-term planning. I think that's what Peter's father and I always talked about, and Peter Jr. talked about was, you're planning, let's plan long-term, so, that was the reason for coming forward for this. It's more apt to be used with the land on the north side than, east, west, or south.
All right, there any other comments or questions from the board?
Ross, I do have a question. Okay, I'm a little bit confused. This property, does this abut what we just voted on or not?
Exactly.
It abuts it.
It's just south of it. It
Okay.
abuts it on the south side.
Okay, if we're looking at the other map, from what we just voted on, that parcel 46B2.
That's that purple right now.
I'm sorry, what was it?
That's the purple one that I have highlighted.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Don, again.
You're welcome.
So currently north of Hill Road, or what was Hill Road at one point, is industrial. The prior meeting was this purple parcel to the south of it, and then we're proposing the orange parcel that's the next one further south. So like we said, we're kind of looking towards a future where there's this corridor on the west side of town, maybe eventually going all the way south as far as people wanted to of industrial land that's out of the way of all this residential area.
Thank you, Don. That answered my question greatly, and thank you, Peter.
John Smith, you any comments or questions?
No.
Okay.
One thing I'll just note on, as far as the expressed interest of access from Route 20 is in our master plan that, you know, for properties of this type that they, for any industrial or large commercial uses, the access would be from Route 20. So the board felt comfortable that this, you know, we can never say never on anything. That's one issue I know we do have, but the appropriate access to this property and the other property would be through, you know, a parcel on Route 20.
But there would be nothing that would prevent it otherwise, except for cost.
Well, you know, that would, excuse me, that would be like saying on the last parcel, they could come up Hill Road to access that land. So, I mean, you know, you know, at the cost of about $800 a foot for an industrial road coming all the way from Schoolhouse Road or up Berry Corner Road, you know, that would make it economically infeasible. The only thing that's going to make this feasible is the fact that it's going to, you know, at some point in time, connect to the other parcel of land.
The only difference is the other parcel already had industrial land at the end of Hill Road that was already zoned industrial.
I know,
and now this will, if the other one
if
passes.
that's successful, that will be successful. Maybe they'll both get shot down. You don't know, but I mean, it's you know.
Okay.
I just have one question. We went through this process with the well, I'll say it, the VGG project, and the state did not grant access off of Route 20. So if that's the case, then you almost would have your hand forced to try to get access to another area on this if you wanted to have that. Just throwing it out there.
What was the BGG? What was the BGG parcel? I'm not familiar with that.
The Orchard.
Down Orchard.
I'm sorry, which one?
Charlton Orchard.
Oh.
Well, to answer John's question is, I mean, yes, there's always cost involved, but there would be nothing to prevent the town, to prevent the applicant from proposing something on Berry Corner, you know, using the access on Berry Corner Road. I understand the cost, but we don't have the authority to say you have to go this way versus that way. If it's a public road, the public is allowed to use it.
All right, Bill Fontaine, any comment or question?
No, I mean, I think looking at our, you know, the long range plan, this section of Charlton abutting Worcester, you know, with Route 20 on it, that was designated kind of, you know, to categorize these industrial IG type of uses. The other comment would be just around the Berry Corner Road. I'm sure, you know, agriculture is so predominant in Charlton. I'm sure it touches every other zone. There's always another road into, you know, IG industrial type of properties. It's almost unavoidable just because there's so much agriculture in town. So, just because it's there doesn't mean it, like, I don't think it would be feasible, but I mean, I think that just brings up the point. It's almost unavoidable, you know, because there is so much agricultural in town, to have a road with access in it from an agricultural zone. That's all. Those are my comments. Thank you.
All right.
Actually, I just wanted to add one more thing, because, you know, the reference to the VGG project was brought up, and it's actually a good point. One of the unique things about this particular property and the other properties that are in front of it is they have already gotten approved from Mass DOT for a traffic light on Route 20, which was something that wasn't proposed with VGG. The intersection was Old Worcester Road where there was a light. And that's what made that project a little, you know, having a new entrance from Route 20 with VGG that Mass DOT didn't support was because of where the part of, you know, where the traffic light location was, and then an additional light right near it. This project, should they, you know, the GFI parcel, the one at Route 20, has already proposed and been reviewed and accepted for a new traffic light on Route 20. So if you're looking at from a commercial developer standpoint, that traffic light is significant on how you would access these parcels. Even, you know, if I was a developer and I was trying to do it, I would do everything I could to take advantage of that versus having to drive down Berry Corner Road and trying to pull out onto, you know, wherever with large vehicles. So
Randy, do you know where that light was approved? The access?
it is, if you look at up on the Route 20, if you see the number Route 20 there, it is, if you go up just a hair more, Don.
This one up here?
It says Sturbidge Road. It's right at about where the D is for road, where it says Sturbidge Road.
Down here or
no, up at the top, right
here?
at the top of your screen.
Oh, okay. So the access is right here across from 240?
Right. It's the driveway entrances are almost across from each other.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
I think what we're looking here is the highest and best use of the land. And, you know, considering as the Route 20 property gets developed and expands, you know, that's for the Cooper family, you know, their advantage is to sell it, you know, to sell it to who's gonna GFI or who's ever gonna develop, you know, the developing neighbor is.
All right. Are there any questions from the public? You do speak from the public, please state your name and address for the record, please. All right, hearing none, seeing none. All right, the board has no more comments or questions. We have a motion to close the public hearing.
Yeah, I'll make a motion. We close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor, Gene Vincent,
Aye.
Don Clay,
Aye.
John Smith,
Aye.
Bill Fontaine,
Aye.
Ross Massey, aye. All right, do we have a motion to support this zoning map change at 194 Berry Corner Road from agricultural to industrial, which is map 47, block A, lot 1.4?
Ross, this is Bill Fontaine. I'll make that motion to have the planning board support from agricultural to IG lot 47A 1.4.
All right, we have a second. All right, I will second that. All right, all those in favor, Gene Vincent,
No.
Don Clay,
No, not for this parcel.
John Smith,
No.
Bill Fontaine,
Aye.
Ross Massey, aye. All right. 3-2, not support.
So
All
just so the applicant is aware that this still will be at town meeting because it's ultimately determined by the residents of the town. But you know, it's the planning board would make their.
I'm wondering if it makes sense to hold off on that then and maybe wait till the other thing's done. Dan, I don't know what your thoughts are.
Well, that's completely up to you. I'm just you the opportunity that if you still want it heard at town meeting, you can. You also have the opportunity to have it removed from the warrant. It's,
And when would we need to get notification or whatever to not have it on the warrant?
I believe the latest date is April 13th, but it might be sooner than that. So I would, honestly, if it was within the next week, it would probably be the best thing to do.
Yeah,
to make sure.
that sounds good. There's no need to be like today.
Yeah.
Right. No,
Peter,
you have time to think about it. Sure.
Yeah, Dan and I, we can talk about this later.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
All right,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Thanks, Pete.
All right, moving on to our 7-4, we have a public hearing for Elaine Boucher and Jean Boyda, proposed zoning map change, Worcester Road from agricultural A to business enterprise park. Map 32, block B, lot 2.5. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 5, the Charlton Planning Board will hold a remote public hearing on Wednesday, March 24th, 2021 at 7:40 via Zoom meeting ID 85307939499 on the request of Elaine Boucher and Jean Boyda, 236 Glenville Street, Spencer, Mass. 01562, to consider amending Charlton zoning map for land located at Worcester Road here and identified on Charlton Assessors Map 36, Block B, Lot 2.5, by rezoning all or a portion of the parcel from its current zoning designated of the agricultural to business enterprise park as detailed on the submitted zoning district revision map. The property contains approximately 30.1 acres. Pursuant to Governor Baker's Map 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GL Chapter 38, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Charlton Planning Board will be conducted by remote participation. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Charlton's website at www.townofcharlton.net. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to listen or watch the meeting may do so in the following manner. Video participation, https://zoom.us/85307939499. Meeting ID 85307939499. Phone access 1-646-558-8656. The complete text and map of the proposed zoning map amendment is available for inspection at the planning board office in the town clerk's office during regular business hours. The application is also posted to the town website and the planning board. Any persons interested in wishing to be heard should appear at the time and place designated. All right.
with this parcel, as you can see, it's split zone, partially BEP and part A. It was actually previously zoned all BEP, and the owners had requested to split zone it into part BEP and part agricultural, which they essentially created these house lots here that they could sell off. They are now no longer interested in subdividing anymore, so they are requesting to just rezone everything back to BP to make the property more commercially viable than leaving it as split zone as it is right now. If you actually look at our zoning map, this is kind of like there's a large area of BEP on the north side of Route 20, and this is kind of like a little chunk that was taken out of it under a previous bylaw change, and now we're just basically putting it back again.
So they took it out of BEP, sold a bunch of house lots, now they're gonna put that back into BEP.
That's essentially what has happened, yes.
No, excuse me, they did not sell those house lots. That was another parcel to my
Oh,
knowledge.
okay.
Oh, that wasn't done out of this parcel?
No. So I look at, I have a dog in this fight. One of my companies, One Picker Realty Trust, One Picker was the owner of the Sturbidge Industrial Park. And we had, the last 2 years, we sold we sold 3 of our parcels with the other 2 that are gonna close shortly. So we're ran out of land in Sturbidge, and we like you guys in Charlton, so we figured we better restock our shelves here. what had happened, I think they were ill-advised. Someone said, well, look, why don't you, there's more house builders and industrial builders. Why don't you make this agricultural and sell house lots? But what they didn't take into consideration is get a solar farm, across Carroll Hill Road. And then in the corner, the old ADT, that's still a junkyard there. So when we came back, they told us they changed the zoning. They came back to us and we said that, look, part of the problem is with that split zoning and the 100-foot buffer zone between agricultural and the industrial thing, you've ruined the front parcel. So, so our, we said, hey, if you put it back whole, then we would buy the property. And part of buying the property is out of the proceeds of the sale is to clean up some minor hazmat problems that because on the main parcel years ago, that was part of a junkyard. So that'll allow the 21E to get done, and for the cleanup, there's car parts and old automobile carcasses, throughout the property. They're not as visible as the ones on Carroll Hill Road, but so that's a long-term plan. And the other thing that makes it suitable for us is there is a water line that goes by it. So, that should be, should be activated within a year, I understand, so.
All right, any questions from the board, comments?
Nope.
All right. Gene?
No, I don't think I have any questions right now.
Would,
Go ahead, Don.
just one question. Would access to this parcel be off of Route 20 or would access come off Carroll Hill?
There's a curb cut at Route 20. It makes sense to put it there because on the Carroll Hill, if you look on the left-hand side of the map on the green, you see that? That's a brook that comes down through here, and we really don't want to get involved with crossing the brook because, it's if we had if the entrance was there, we'd have to build a bridge over the brook instead of a culvert.
Alongside Carroll Hill, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah, you see, you've got the former, okay, yeah, you see, you got this frontage here. There's already a curb cut right up through here.
Oh, is there? Okay.
Yeah, and then from about here, there's a brook that meanders through here and it exits through there. So.
Oh, right here, I can see it.
I mean, the easy, the two lots that we envision are, in here. Well, the big thing we want that 100-foot buffer back here and not in the middle of it. That would diminish that because there is a slope that comes where the existing BEP is, it comes down, and if you have a 100-foot buffer, then you can't, if you have to leave a 100-foot buffer along where it says 0 Worcester Road at the top.
I'm just moving some, yep.
That's got to be, to make this work, that's got to be balanced. So that's why we wanted to extend the zoning line and have the 100-foot buffer, by the house lots and use that part of the land.
Okay.
John Smith, you got any questions or comments?
Ross, this is Jean. Did I misunderstand that they may be coming back again to rezone it again? Did I?
No, I think that it was previously a BEP, then they made it A, that parcel. I think that's where you might get it.
Okay.
I'm correct, right, Dan?
That's right.
Um,
And once again, the neighbors on this property, the abutters were not notified or don't need to be notified, is that true?
They're not required to be notified. That's correct.
Okay.
All right, there anyone from the public that has any questions or comments? If you do speak up, please state your name and address for the record, please. All right, hearing none, seeing none. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Just one question, Ross. I'm
Go right
sorry.
ahead, John.
What would be the buffer around those existing houses? We had talked about these split zones on Route 20. I think last week we was up by the tile place and there was a pile of tile right behind some guy's house and such. Have we determined that, what a zoning buffer would be between these?
If somebody's to develop this property, I think currently it's 50 feet. If they, requested, like where they had we amended the bylaw last fall, if the building was 50 feet or over 36 feet, it would actually end up being 100 feet. Correct.
I was under the impression it was 100 feet. Somewhere about a buffer between business enterprise and if you look at page 23 of the zoning book, number 2 at the top of the page, a lot boundary that abuts an R40 or an agricultural district or historic district, the landscape and material should be, trying to see what it says 100 feet here. Landscaping shall be plant materials that provide year-round screening of view from any industrial. But I thought I read where it was 100 feet.
Yeah, it's in addition, a landscape strip of 100 feet shall be created and maintained along any lot boundary that abuts an R40 or agricultural district or historic district.
Oh yeah, landscape, yeah, landscape strip 100 feet in width. Yes.
That's where that number came from.
Yeah.
If anybody had proposed a building over 36 feet, it would be a special permit as well, which gives the board more discretion.
Does that answer your question, John?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thanks, Dan.
Okay, I'll make a motion. We close the public hearing for lot 36B-2.5, Old Worcester Road.
All right, do we have a second?
Second that.
All right, all those in favor, Gene Vincent,
Aye.
Don Clay,
Aye.
John Smith,
Aye.
Bill Fontaine,
Aye.
Ross Mancy, aye. Do we want to have discussion or do we want to go ahead and vote on this? Please vote.
I'll make a motion through the chair.
Go right ahead.
Planning board to support the lot 36B 2.5 from agricultural to business enterprise park at the next town meeting.
All right, do we have a second? All right, I will second that. All right, all those in favor, Gene Vincent,
No.
okay, Don Clay,
No.
John Smith,
No.
okay, Bill Fontaine,
Yeah, aye.
Ross Mancy, aye. 3-2, not in favor. All right, moving forward to our 750. Public hearing for Gary Inamorati, the second proposed zoning map changes 451 Worcester Road, agricultural to community business. Map 38, block A, lot 14.3. All right, pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 5, the Charm Planning Board will hold a remote public hearing on Wednesday, March 24, 2021 at 7:50 PM via Zoom meeting ID 85307939499 on the request of Gary Inamorati II, 451 Worcester Road, Charlton, Mass. 01507, to consider amending Charlton zoning map for land located at 5 Glenmere Road, here identified on Charlton Assessors Map 38, Block A, Lot 14.3, by rezoning of parcel from its current zoning designation of agricultural to community business, as detailed in the submitted zoning district revision map. The property contains approximately 0.92 plus or minus acres. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law, Chapter 38, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Charlton Planning Board will be conducted by remote participation. Specific information in the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found at the Town of Charlton website at www.towncharlton.net. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to listen or watch the meeting may do so in the following manner. Video participation, https://zoom.us/85307939499. Meeting ID 8530, excuse me, 07939499. Phone access 16465588656. The complete text and map of the proposed zoning map amendment is available for inspection at the planning board office and the town clerk's office during regular business hours. The application is also posted to the town website on the planning board. Any person interested or wishing to be heard should appear at the time and place designated. All right, I think we're all familiar with this site. All right.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to also point out that we did receive, I believe all the board members have received a copy of letters that we received from concerned neighbors on Glenmore Road. In speaking to two of them, they did not have.
Everyone get those?
I believe I forwarded them to everyone.
Yes, yes.
Okay, but two of the neighbors did not have computer access or anything and aren't computer savvy where they felt, could not get on the meeting tonight, which is why they proposed to put their concerns in writing.
Do we want to read those letters?
I'll be more than happy to. All right, we've got one from March 14, 2021. My property is directly across from the land in question, so I would be very impacted by this change. I would imagine the applicant wants to put more used cars there, so not only would it be unsightly, but there is also the problems of increased traffic, trash, noise, etc. More grave concerns would be the long-term effect of all the fluids, gasoline, oil, antifreeze on the wells of everyone on the street. I understand that the town is eager for more businesses, but keep them on Route 20, not little side streets. There's much talk about maintaining Charlton's rural and county feel or country feel. So why start encroaching on established neighborhoods, no matter how small they are? Where will it end? Will all the areas remotely near Route 20 become commercial? I'm saddened and distressed to think that after nearly 40 years of maintaining and improving my property and paying taxes, the town would consider allowing someone to come in and change the landscape. Please don't allow this zoning change to happen. Thank you, Karen Marcelli, 6 Glenmore Road. Excuse me. And then another one from March 22nd from Paul Boucher at 10 Glenmere Road. I've learned that Gary Inamorati, owner of 5 Glenmere Road, is seeking a zoning change from agricultural to commercial in order to expand his car dealership. My first concern is the impact of fluids from additional inventory would have on well water. Secondly, I'm concerned about increased traffic. Presently, traffic on Glenmere Road is out of control. Last of all, I'm concerned about additional lighting impacting my ability to attain a good night's sleep. My bedroom faces the dealership. In closing, I pose a rhetorical question. Did he comply with the rules set forth by the planning board, such as install of a ramp for handicapped individuals? With consideration of these concerns will be appreciated. Sincerely, Paul Boucher. All right.
I believe there was one more. Did you receive 3, Ron?
I only have 2 in my packet here. So another one. Those are the only 2 that I have. Actually, wait, you know what? Yep, sorry, I didn't see it. This is from Rick Lezot. He lives at 8 Glenmere. Hi, Mr. Benson, my name is Frederick Lezot. I have lived at 8 Glenmere Road in Chuckville for the past 40 years. I am writing because I'm very concerned about the zoning change requested by Mr. Gary Inamorati for his business located at 5 Glenmore Road. Mr. Inamorati wishes to purchase a home on the lot next to his automobile business in order to expand the dealership. Mr. Benson, over the years, our neighborhood has been asked to deal with multiple zoning changes from agricultural to commercial business and is hurting the rural character of our street. First change was granted to Curtis Abbott and he built a construction company at the corner of the street in Route 20. He then built a storage building up the street across from number 8. Now, the building was first constructed, the sign at the beginning of the driveway read Williams Farm, further eroding the character of the neighborhood. Then a truck repair garage was granted a variance again, retracting from the neighborhood, also contributing to some water contamination problems. Another variance was granted to Huggison Excavating directly across from Glenmere Road on Route 20, where various types of construction equipment is stored and parked in plain sight of all. Finally, there was a variance granted to Mr. Inamorati when he first opened his car dealership. Mr. Benson, myself, and the rest of my neighbors are tired of these constant variances granted to any and all types of businesses. We moved to town in order to enjoy a quiet and peaceful lifestyle in a rural town. These variances are seriously detracting from the value of our property and also cause destruction to our early morning lives. We ask that you say enough is enough and deny this request with variance. If you need to wish of talking about this situation, do not hesitate to call it 508-248-7881. Thank you, Frederick Lezot.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that he does not understand the difference, calling everything a variance, but the items that he referred to were actual site plan approvals. So just a correction on that, because the variances weren't granted on this. It was actual site plan approvals. Just a clarification.
Are there any comments? I mean, we got reaction here from, or any reaction from the 3 letters and people, of course, in the neighborhood are.
I don't see, I don't know, Mr. Anarati is on.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm present. I'd like to thank you guys for squeezing me into the meeting. I'm aware of their concerns, but I'm just trying to change the use of the property. I'm not going for any, licensing at the moment. I feel like lighting concerns and whatnot could be brought up in, future planning. And it's 300 feet off of 20. So I'd like to stay in this town if I could.
So this isn't any change to your current site plan. It's more of a possible future expansion.
Correct.
That would need to go under site plan review and approval.
Right, I just can't do that with the property agriculture.
Question I have for you, Randy, is I know that you mentioned that did Kurt do a map where he said we're suggested in our, just as part of our zoning diagnostic, how far back the zoning line would be?
Right, well, the current zoning line, it's, if you look at this map right here, right now, the current zoning line does not follow property line, more or less, down the side of Route 20. So Kurt Meskis had put together an overlay, you know, a result of our whole discussion with our bylaws to move the whole line so it would be more in line with what the existing property lines are along Route 20. That being said, what Kurt had proposed, if you look at the map right here, and you'll see that the car dealership, and then there's a home behind that car dealership. And then if you look to the west, where there's what appears to be school buses or something, that property to the west actually, the current zone boundary line more or less follows the rear of the property right through the center of the truck repair property next door, and it continues down Route 20, and it doesn't follow the property lines. A zone boundary line more in line with the property line is what Kurt had proposed. Looking at the big picture with our bylaw change, this request that Mr. Ann Marati wants to do is actually part of that big picture for the proposed, you know, zoning change. But, you know, we haven't discussed that at the planning board level at this point. And that would be also a planning board application where we would, you know, require to notice the butters, and, you know, we hold ourselves to a standard that we have to be transparent and notify all the butters and everything. It was just planning board sponsored bylaw recommendation change for a map change. This particular application is proposed by the applicant.
Ross, I just have a question. This is Jean. On the easterly side of Glenmere and Route 20 there, what's that big building?
That's Curtis Abbott.
Okay. So that's pretty much like industrial. That's zoned industrial also?
Oh, commercial business.
Commercial business? Okay.
Community business.
Okay. And does that follow his property line there with the commercial business?
Well, it's because he's probably more or less.
More or less, okay.
Yeah, it's not 100% accurate because
Okay.
it's kind of unique.
And that's what we've been trying to clear up here, right?
Right.
Okay. All right.
I think even if you look at this property here at 451, this back corner almost looks like it's cut off.
It
Is that
is,
true?
yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It actually looks like half the business, that's what we got back to businesses, I mean, being in two zones in one lot.
Yep.
Exactly.
And then if we look at the proposed, it's going to create a little sliver of agricultural between two community businesses. That's, I mean, that to the applicant, we're trying to clear this up. So there's some, and we're halfway, 3/4 way through the process of establishing a zone there. And so you And so the neighbors would know, you would know what's able to be built there. And I would say if you could just hang on just a little bit, when we get the actual new zoning diagnostic approved by the town with the boundaries of where the community business lies, it would be, that would be preferable.
Okay. Two questions I have. Actually, on that 5 Glenmere, wasn't the front portion of that property actually in community business from the looks of it?
Yes.
Yeah, right there where you're at? Okay.
This little corner here.
Yeah. Then who owns the other little sliver off to the left of that? That looks like it's still agricultural?
That's part of this 451 lot. Yeah, the line kind of looks like it goes like right across here. Almost if you follow this lot line straight.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, it seemed like when this zone boundary line was put in, they just picked like a number 200 feet back from Route 20 and just drew a straight line, regardless of where property lines and everything were, which is why it's confusing, you know.
Alrighty.
So we, you know, when Kurt and I had actually reviewed this whole area, we were trying to follow property lines to the, you know, the biggest extent possible. Some of it's a little difficult, but so that we wouldn't have these properties that end up with these split zones, you know.
Right.
Reduce them as much as possible.
And on this proposed, if say that this proposed, say, all right, we're gonna move that line back. There's still, our main concern on Route 20 is the residents that are associated adjacent to these properties and having the significant buffer to shield them from lighting or noise or such.
I think that's where they are. I mean, I wasn't here at the time, but it appears that that's probably what the board at the time was going for, you know, to allow for commercial development along Route 20 while still, you know, maintaining some sort of buffer towards the residential properties that are on all these side roads behind Route 20.
Yeah. And 200 feet is almost not enough to do that.
Right. That's where I think the problem lies. It's just, you know, I don't know where the number actually came from, but it's in, you know, it's not a significant amount when you're considering commercial development.
But with this particular property, we could do a 200-foot buffer. That wouldn't be any problem, would it, Gary?
What do you mean by that?
Like between the 5 Glenmere property and the one behind that one?
Which is also a you know, a business type property.
That's a business behind it?
It's a warehouse.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. Okay.
Well, one thing I will say, you know,
by 3, you know, businesses.
That would be redeveloped by the property owner, that they, you know, if that dealership was, you know, he was proposing to expand the car dealership or some other type of use, it would have to come before the board, and the board would be given the opportunity to take in consideration the abutting residential property. Even if the planning board comes back with our own sponsored application where we thought about looking at the big picture zoning boundary line change, we're still going to run into this issue anytime that somebody along the Route 20 corridor wants to do something. So any site plan, regardless of what the zoning is on the property, would have to come before the board, and they would be given the opportunity to take into consideration any residential abutting properties.
Right, and we could protect that residential property behind it.
Correct.
Okay.
So if you look at this picture, this is commercial, This is
Right.
commercial, this is commercial. You know,
The property right now has just got trash all over it. It's been abandoned for, pretty much abandoned. Someone lived there, but they might as well abandon it.
number 5?
Oh, yeah, they didn't pay taxes for 6 years. I had to pay all the back taxes to acquire the property. And it's just, these people complaining about potential trash have been looking at trash for 6 years, if not more.
Well, I think it'd be a step in the right direction to, you know, extend that back and get it more in line with everything.
All right, any other comments, Bill? You have any comments or questions?
No, thank you.
It still creates a weird sliver of agriculture between his two. I mean, it's just so freaking sloppy. The whole thing is sloppy. And I'm not opposed, I mean, that's just me. So
Yeah, I see what you mean, John. You know, I'm really not opposed to this.
I'm not
but it would be
opposed
nice to do it
either.
right.
Yeah, and I'm sorry that the town had let this gone on in the past, you know, and we're trying to, like I said, reel this in, but then it's gonna be the next guy with little, and then we're gonna,
So once you have these two properties and you own both these properties, is that your intention to rezone this little sliver, or is this something you're just never going to be able to build on?
No, I would like to rezone that sliver. I would like to rezone. But don't you have like so far that you can go into the next zone? Because if you look at the zoning line, the repair shop is actually built into the agricultural land.
What is that distance? Randy, do you know?
It's agriculture, and there is he's correct, and I'm sorry, I wasn't thinking about that at the time, but there is a distance that you can go into the less restrictive property. It's so many feet into the less restrictive area from the more restrictive area.
Yeah, I didn't think it was. I thought it was around 10 feet or something like that. I didn't think it was
this. I mean, I can't speak for this. Is well before probably all of our time.
Sure, sure.
This has been here for, you know, God knows how long. So I can't really speak to how it all turned into what it is today.
This has been here longer than our zoning, so this would be pre-existing non-conforming anyways.
Right.
Okay.
All right, any other comments or questions from the board? All right, anyone from the public have any comments or questions? If from the public you're going to speak, please state your name and address for the record, please. All right, hearing none, seeing none. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
All right, do we have a second?
I second.
All right, all those in favor, Gene Vincent,
Aye.
John Clay, John Smith,
Aye.
Bill Fontaine,
Aye.
Ross Massey, aye. All right,
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Gary. Do we have a motion to support this zoning change at
Town meeting? No.
451 Worcester Road from agricultural to community business? Map 38, Block A, Lot 14.3.
Yeah, just to open up a discussion, I'll make that motion.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Well,
Gene?
can we, you want to talk about it a little bit amongst ourselves first, not that the motion's out there?
Sure, go right ahead, absolutely.
So I kind of understand this, and it does make sense, and I do sympathize with the neighbors. In this case here, I don't know, it's a tough one for me because I've been saying no to these because of the zoning diagnostics. But this one kind of really makes sense being on Route 20 and as an industrial property surrounded by, as it is, it's kind of a weird location. And I do sympathize with the neighbors, but it is on Route 20, exactly where we want to put future development.
And I actually did, for the neighbors, you know, concerned neighbors that I had conversation with, I explained to them, should time come when he wants to possibly come in with a site plan approval to expand the car dealership and everything, that it would be a, you know, a notice public hearing, and, you know, they should definitely take advantage of that and, you know, express any concerns to the board at that time so that we make sure that we addressed any, because, you know, the biggest concern is some sort of buffering between, you know, if there was still residential homes there at the time, that we address the concerns about buffering the commercial use from the residential use.
Sure, put something along the side of the road in this location just
Right.
to kind of
And
buffer that.
And they were understandable, right? They were understandable about, you know, that would be the process, so that they, you know, the fact that the board is just doing a zoning change does not just guarantee that he can just, you know, start turning it into a car dealership tomorrow. He has to go through the proper site plan approval so that they will have an opportunity to voice their concerns.
I agree with Don. You know, when we draw that line, I could see that line being extended back behind, so the non-conforming lot next to it hopefully would be incorporated. That zig and zag there, whatever that is, that little. But back to this lot, please, can we just make that all, does he have to come back, and the little sliver there that is agriculture sticking in there, that needs to be contiguous with the CB on Route 20 for me.
Right, well, I mean, that's what, I mean, yes, our intent, you know, at the staff levels, to straighten out this zoning boundary line, move it back where, you know, not only here, but further west on Route 20, is to straighten out so that these properties aren't split zone, like, you know, so that the truck repair shop, the whole property is in the commercial zone. And in turn, it's going to fix this little triangle on Mr. Anmarati's property.
So you want to wait till then? Can't we do it now and make it straight right now? I mean, it's his land, and as it stands now, he's got a little hunk of it as agricultural sticking through it. If to the proposed one, is it possible to drop that line straight down and connect it on his lot line to his community business?
Can we, include 451 Worcester Road in its entirety in this rezoning?
I would like
The only, I mean, I don't disagree with you at all. I'm just thinking from a noticing requirement that we have to make sure that we're doing it correctly.
Sure, yep, understood.
Probably the best way to handle this, because this has already been a public notice for this, is that we could be amended at town meeting to include 451 Worcester Road. That might be the better way to handle it, so that we recommend this with the amending of including the
pie
portion of the property on 451 Worcester Road. I think everybody would understand why you're doing that, because it just makes it cleaner. But because we didn't notice for 451 Worcester Road tonight,
Sure.
I don't know if we can really make that decision.
Understood,
Okay.
understood.
Included as part of this decision. So the best way would probably make somebody make an amendment at the town meeting to include that parcel of land.
Sure.
Good idea.
Thanks for bringing it up, John. Makes most sense.
Okay.
And the building behind it is some type of storehouse now?
It's
that's a warehouse.
Okay.
for Curtis Abbott, is that correct?
Yes.
And this, the one directly across from the land you just purchased, Mr. Amorati, is that a vacant lot there or is there a house?
No.
There is a house tucked in the woods there. You can
Yeah,
barely.
that is one of the property owners I spoke to about the site plan process, so they understood that, you know, if he ever proposes to enlarge the car dealership or everything, that it would be done through a site plan, so they would have a opportunity, you know, to voice, you know, request buffering or whatever they may, you know, want to do as a result of the expansion of the car dealership.
Sure, there'll be many of these discussions in the future.
Sure.
Okay.
Is there any other discussion that anyone wants to put input? I mean, I think John and John made great points, and I agree with them on the points that they made.
Agree.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve this, or recommend this to the town meeting voters to approve.
And just to be clear again, we'll just, at the town meeting, somebody will stand up and want to amend to include the entirety of the parcel, right?
Right, at 451 Worcester Road, which will take care of that triangle.
Okay, and we don't need to vote on that today. We're just doing what is on the
Yeah,
notice.
just what's on the proposed plan, but
No, got it.
And that proposal should be done by the partitioner?
yes, it should. Yeah, the planning board can't really, I mean, we're advising them to make that recommendation. But,
Yep.
he should really make the recommendation for the amendment.
Okay.
Right, all those in favor, Gene Vincent,
Aye.
Don Clay,
Aye.
Don Smith,
Aye.
Phil Fontaine,
Aye.
Ross Murphy, aye. It is unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gary.
Appreciate it.
Next up, 8 o'clock, Mass General Law, Chapter 61A, parcel release for Kozowski on North Sturbidge Road, map 14, block B, lot 1.
This is actually the lot that was just recently approved to the planning board. They cut off a lot for a family member on North Sturbidge Road as part of the larger farm parcel. So in order to get permits to build on it there, you know, it has to be released from 61A. So the planning board would make a recommendation to the Board of Adjustment to, if they have no interest in town purchasing the land, and recommend that it would be released from 61A.
I don't think it's
All right.
any use for the town, right?
No, not it. It really isn't. They still have the remaining farm parcels there that's intact.
Yep. I'll make a motion that the town take no action on the property.
Second.
We have, all right, Don Smith with the second. All those in favor, Gene Vincent,
Aye.
Don Clay,
Aye.
Don Smith,
Aye.
Phil Fontaine,
Aye.
Ross Murphy, aye. It is unanimous. All right, next up, do we have any other business that has been unknown? Any A&Rs or anything?
Well, I had 2 A&Rs, and I honestly did not think this meeting was going to go as well as it did tonight. So I really, we did not amend the agenda because I wasn't anticipating us actually getting to these tonight. And Jane had done the agenda as well. But I mean, they are just also really up to the purview of the board of whether they want to take action on tonight. The first one is actually just they are creating, 2 lots out of 1 current lot. I believe it's for a family member, and it's a very, some straightforward application for, which one? Of course, I have them far away because I wasn't going to get to it.
Is it, yeah, which one is it? This is Oxbow Road or H. Putnam Road?
H. Putnam Road.
Okay. That's 27A and B?
Correct.
Okay.
They're just moving a lot line, Randy?
Yes.
Are they moving a lot line or are they
Okay.
adding this new lot line?
No, they're actually moving the lot line. They are, they need,
Triangle there?
I'm sorry.
You said they're making 2 lots out of 1.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm sorry. Give me just a second because you caught me
Sure.
off. I didn't think we were gonna get this. No, no.
Yes, we're very.
John, how's the
efficient
maple?
tonight.
What's
Oh
that?
my gosh, the trees are pouring out. My wife's out there boiling right now. We boiled for 6 straight days. It was crazy. I got some really good stuff for you guys. I'll leave it in the office with Randy when I sign it. You guys can come in and pick some up. So it's been awesome.
Okay, yes, they are creating 2 lots out of this, and that this lot 27B is the new lot that's being created.
All right. Kurt, take a look at these, and you have any issue, Randy?
Kurt?
Yeah, you take a
No,
look at
he
these
did
at
not
all?
have an issue with this lot.
All right.
So each one has sufficient frontage. What zone is this?
R40,
Is this R4? Okay.
so it's, yeah, 40,000 square foot lot, just a hair over 40,000, the new lot.
Okay.
Have a shed on the other lot, Randy? Is there a little box there? I see.
Yeah, at the rear of the property.
Yeah.
And it abuts the village district. Gotcha.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. All right.
Yep.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve the A&R on H. Putnam?
I'll make a motion, we approve the A&R on 27 H Putnam lots A and B.
I second.
All right, all those in favor, G. Vincent,
Aye.
John Clay,
Aye.
John Smith,
Aye.
Joe Fontaine,
Aye.
Ross Smith, aye. It is unanimous. All right, next one up.
This application is dividing it into 5 lots. One of them, as you can see, lot B4. It would be the creation of reduced frontage lot, but they are not, at this time, able to get permits on. They would have to come before the board for a special permit in order to construct a home on the reduced frontage lot, which is lot B4. So at this point in time, they would have 4 buildable lots in this reduced frontage lot, but the reduced frontage lot cannot be built on until they apply for a special permit for that particular lot.
And the existing house is on lot B2?
Yeah, what will be lot B2.
Okay.
Is that those buildings farther enough from the property line on the B2?
Yeah, it's only has to be, I believe it's 15 feet. So, and I mean, at the scale, it does meet the required setbacks on the property. It's actually the closest thing to the property line is actually a swimming pool, but it does meet the required setback.
Okay, that's
that light hat dotted line shows
Yeah.
you where the setback is.
That help?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you, Don, as usual.
Yeah, without you, we'd be dead in the water.
No, we'd all have stiff necks from turning our heads.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, do we have a motion to approve the A&R for Oxbow Road to create 5 lots?
I don't have a problem as long as all of them meet what they're supposed to.
Yeah, I mean, they all have frontage on Oxbow Road to somewhat. 4 of them are legal lots. Well, is All right, so question. It looks like this B2 doesn't, oh, wait a minute, never mind. I take that back. Nope, 183, 175,
Yeah.
175, 175. It's just this one that's at 100.
Right.
So 4 of them are buildable. B4 would have to come back in front of us for a
Special permit.
reduced frontage lot. Yep, okay.
Yeah, and I did check because I know it's always questionable, so with help with Jane, once we found it, she actually found it. I gotta give her credit for that, but the way the subdivision regulations read, it's more than 5 lots creates a subdivision. So this is actually creating 5 lots. So he's staying within the guidelines of being able to prove it as an A&R.
Okay. That's kind of where I was going at. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to make doubly sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that this wasn't a subdivision. Okay. Do we have a motion?
All right, do we have I know Jean said she didn't have a comment. Do we have a motion to accept the A&R creating 5 lots on Oxbow Road?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Do we have a second? All those in favor, Jean Vincent,
Aye.
John Clay,
Aye.
John Smith,
Aye.
Joe Fontaine,
Aye.
Ross Missy, aye. It is unanimous. All right, Rainey, do you have anything else?
Nope, that's it. I just wanted to send out a reminder. I know most people responded about our workshop because we have yet another application that is going to request amendment to the bylaws and building height. And they had requested a workshop with the board to discuss it before it goes to public hearing. They are adamant about going to the May town meeting and work with Andrew Golis that we have the workshop, then they would have to have the public hearing on April 21st to be on the warrant for the May town meeting. But they're trying to, they would like to have the workshop with the board first before they move ahead. And that's what that's all about next week.
Can you clue us in on where this property is?
Well, it's actually it's the property in question where they're talking about is actually on Route 20, the Kozowski farm. That's where they're proposing it. But as we all know, it's like I explained to them, they understand we can't just look at it as a property basis. We have to look at it from a town-wide standpoint. And so in doing that, I've gone over what I recommended to them to make it more acceptable to the board. Of course, the board has every, opportunity to say no to everything or whether they want to change that. But I intend if they want to try to raise the building height, they should only be allowed to do it on larger tracts of land, not just anywhere. So I gave them some guidelines that they should try to work with, and of course the planning board welcome to speak to, they disagree to any of that, but that's what they're looking for, some guidance if you were to allow what would be acceptable, knowing that nothing is written in stone till a planning board public hearing. But they're just trying to get the notice together properly before they notice for that meeting.
Okay.
All right. Is there anything else?
That's enough. No, that's it.
All right. The board have anyone from the board have anything you want to bring up or anything? Are we all good?
I'm good.
I've got nothing.
I will try to say
Randy,
I understand that everybody's been trying to they're pushing through with these zoning bylaw request changes, and I explained that we're in the middle of things, but some applicants are don't wish to wait, and then, you know, it's their prerogative if they want to try to move forward, so.
I have no problem with, and I hopefully they were participants, or they were able to voice their opinion to the our guy there, and but it's interesting feedback knowing that. So we, by no fault, we will, if we go and have a chance to draw these lines, we was like, well, we'll take into that consideration, putting more off of Route 20. You know, it's good feedback. You know, it's not no, it's just like, let's do it so we don't have to have this discussion every time, for God's sake.
Excellent. All right, do we have a motion
Randy,
to adjourn?
This is Bill, just a quick question. I may have difficulties signing some of those plans that we've had.
That's okay, Bill. It's, you know, while you're away, as long as we have a quorum to sign, which we do, you know, that we'll be, you know, to signing this document. We just need a quorum to do that. So as long as we have a quorum to do that, you're off the hook for now. Enjoy your trip.
Okay.
Bill, where are you tonight, Bill?
Where are we? I am in California. We are up on the northern coast of California. So we're right off of the 101 at Fortuna, California.
Very nice.
Hmm?
Yeah.
You'll be in Alaska in no time.
Yeah. If I could avoid Canada, right? You just can't cross the border. That's fine.
Nice.
Yeah, next stop up in Oregon and into Washington, and a day or so in Portland and Seattle, and then head east.
What are you doing?
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
I'll make a motion
Right,
to
we have a
adjourn.
And I'll second.
Vincent.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
John Clay,
Aye.
Aye.
John Smith.
Thank you, Don, again for your technical assistance.
Yeah.
Aye.
All right, Phil Fontaine.
Aye.
Ross Smithy, aye. Thank you guys very much. Have a great rest of the week.
You too, everybody.
See you guys.
Right.
Bye-bye.